off, we have our hot and cold smoked salmon. The salmon has been prepared in 2 ways. It's been hot smoked and cold smoked, and we've bound that with a little bit of creme fraiche, some herbs, a little bit of lemon, and we've topped it with a really fresh and zingy apple jelly and a little bit of cucumber. Jelly with salmon is not normally had, but honestly, it's fantastic. Give it a wee try. It's Mother's Day, we're going to try something a little bit different. So all that's needed for this is we simply open it and we leave it at room temperature for about 5 minutes. What that does is it allows the dormant flavours that have been refrigerated to liven up a little bit, okay? You can leave it for a little bit longer, should you wish, but 5 minutes at room temperature should be ample. So on to the main event, the steak, the sirloin steak, a fantastic cut of beef. And we have a lovely rich red wine jus and a smoked salt blend to offset it. So through a few key steps, this is going to be perfect. Don't be scared of this, especially if you're cooking it for your mum or you've been given this as a gift as you are a mother that is deserving of a sirloin steak cooked to perfection. So simply remove it from the packet, okay? What I like to do is when you remove it from the bag, place it onto a little bit of kitchen towel so that you drain any excess meat, any excess liquids on and off, okay? Because when this steak hits the pan, you don't want any excess moisture, okay? You want to hear it sizzle, but you don't want it to be boiling, okay? Right, remove all your herbs, remove the little bit of butter that you've got. Beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. You'll see your sirloin, it has a layer of fat on the top. What we're going to do is we're going to place that into the pan first, okay? And that protects the rest of the meat and it starts to render the rest of the meat. And place the steak skin, the fat side down, okay? That's the sound that you want to hear. Don't be afraid of touching the meat, okay? We're putting a lot of care and effort into this. We're loving this piece of meat. So while it's in the pan, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to start off with a little bit of salt. Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. Keep the rest of the salt for the end product. The sirloin is already cooked by us, okay? We've already marinated it and treated it well. So that when we carve it, we're going to finish this off with a little bit of salt and it'll be absolutely perfect. From start to finish, we've taken care of it for you. Let that render. Don't be afraid just to leave it, okay? Just leave it alone. While the steak's in the pan, I'm going to take the red wine jus and place it in a small saucepan. That red wine sauce is rich and flavourful and it complements the beefy flavours. And again, we're going to turn up the heat a little bit and caramelise all the outside of the steak. That's called the Maillard reaction. And what that really means is that we're caramelising the proteins on the outside of the beef, and that adds an amazing umami and extra savoury flavour to the steak, okay? And it also helps on the cooking process. Turn it over. See, that's the colour that we want. That beautiful caramelised colour, okay? We're going to try and get that all over. Just take your time, there's no rush here. If you're cooking this for your mum, she's going to want the best possible product. What you don't want to do is you don't want to cut into this steak and it's not what you wanted. This is a treat for mum. So that's looking good. We still have the extra salt for after, we still have the butter for after, okay? We're not going to use these things just yet. It's also quite important to sear the ends of the sirloin. Sirloins are normally this shape, normally quite flat. Okay, so that's it. We're searing the ends. You can use tongs if you're not comfortable touching searing hot meat in hot fat. If you're not comfortable with that, then use tongs. Okay? A wee chef's tip here is we're going to just place this in the oven now. However, what we do is we place it onto the fat side again, okay? That protects the meat and again helps it to render, okay? So this is going into an oven set at 190 degrees for between 12 and 15 minutes. I plan to cook this medium rare, but if you want to cook anything extra, then just refer to the QR code and it'll show you there. For one of your sides, we have a fantastic truffle cheese and potato, dauphinoise potato. So dauphinoise potato, for those who don't know, is layered potatoes with cream, and then it's baked in the oven. What we've done is we've mixed that cream with truffle, fresh black truffle, nothing but the best for your mum, and a fantastic cheddar cheese, okay? We're going to just place it onto the tray. We're going to put that into the oven. An oven set at 180 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. Roughly about the same amount of time as you're doing your steak. Once that's out, we're going to put it on the plate, we're going to finish it with the pecorino, because then the heat from the potato will start to slightly melt the pecorino. It's essentially, don't tell mum, it's essentially a posh version of chips and cheese, and everyone likes chips and cheese, don't they? For the spring vegetable fricassee, what you want to do is you want to take a saucepan, just like this. What we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of water, so about 50 mils of water. If you have to weigh it out, then do so. It's essentially just a little splash of water. The reason we do this, the reason we're adding a little splash of water is because we're treating the vegetables with respect. Okay, we want to steam the vegetables, we don't want to boil them. They're already cooked, they've already been treated well. And we have the addition of a lovely herb dressing. If you've not had vegetables in this way, then you're in for a real treat. We like to treat our vegetables like we treat our meat. So you've seen the amount of effort and care that we put into our meat, we do the exact same with the vegetables. So bring that little bit of 50 mils of water up to the heat, okay? I'm actually going to add a little bit of the salt blend into that water. That'd be lovely. So that's the pot coming to the boil. We can see it boiling. What we're going to do is just place the whole container in, okay? If you have a lid, it's a good idea to put it on top at this point, but I don't, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. So that little bit of water we've added is starting to boil, and the heat from that is permeating the vegetables and bringing them to life. They've already been treated with care, the broccoli, the green beans, they've already been treated with care, but we're just bringing them back to life, and we're going to serve them with aplomb, with that little bit of herb dressing for our mum, okay? So the vegetables, the fricassee, will only take about 2 minutes to warm through for it to be ready. You can take to 3 minutes, it's totally up to you. So I'm going to put the heat off, okay, because I know those vegetables are hot. Now for the herb dressing. I'm going to take a spoonful of this, I'm going to place it in to the herb dressing, okay? And what that's going to do, what you're going to do is you're going to move the pan around in a circular motion. Keep it moving. That herb dressing will start to melt, it'll start to coat every individual little vegetable. We're treating these vegetables with the utmost respect. It's spring, it's finally spring, it's Mother's Day. Let's not just fire green vegetables in a pot, we want to treat this with the utmost respect, okay? So we've dressed that with the green herb dressing, okay? And then we're going to place it into a serving container, okay? For a little chef's tip, I always use a spoon. It just seems to fall better when you place it into a bowl. It just seems to be able to stack things better. Just more natural. That's the only difference between home cooks and chefs. So probably we treat vegetables with respect, and we use a spoon to plate things up. And there is your spring vegetable fricassee for Mother's Day. Okay guys, so the sirloin has been in the oven for about 12 minutes now. I'm going to go in and bring it out. Make sure you use an oven cloth. Beautiful. You can hear it sizzling. Right, we're going to treat this. We're going to add another couple of layers of flavour to this. Okay? So that's looking fantastic already. Take your butter and your herbs that you removed at the start and place it into the pan. I've got the stove back on a medium heat. You're taking a spoon here, okay? Turn the stove down to a very low heat. You can even turn it off, okay, if you want. What you want is this butter to melt, the herbs to start to pop in the oil, okay? Now, lay the sirloin on its side. Get ready for this because this is a top tip. Tip your pan. This has been in the oven, so I'm using an oven cloth. Tip your pan towards you slightly. You'll see all the fat, okay? The fat is flavour, you know this. You see how the fat coming to the bottom of the pan. We're going to place our spoon in and over the beef, So the butter that we just placed in there is melted already, okay? So you've lifted the pan off the heat, so the pan is no longer in contact. And we're basting, that's called basting, that's adding another layer of flavour, okay? So as all good home cooks know, anyone who loves a steak, look at that. Look at the flavour going into that. The thyme, the herbs, the butter. Ugh, lovely stuff. Look at that. How can that not taste nice? Look at it. Right, we're going to let this rest. The sirloin is a muscle. and it's all tightened up because it's been in the oven. What we want to do is we want to let it relax, okay? So when we cut it and carve it, it's lovely and tender when we eat it. What I want to do is I want to let that rest. I hate washing up, so let it rest in the pan, okay? Leave this to the side. Okay guys, so the potatoes have been in the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. I'm going to take this out of the oven now. What I'm going to do, a little chef's trick to keep everything nice and neat. I'm going to put the cheese on it on the tray and then transfer it from the tray onto the plate. You can place it onto the plate and then put the cheese on top. It's essentially cheese, isn't it? It's going to get eaten anyway. So pecorino is very similar to Parmesan. Pecorino goes on top. Lovely. And that'll be a hit, a real hit at the dinner table. So truffled dauphinoise potato with pecorino. Beautiful. I'm going to place that onto our table there. And there we have it. So we have our beautiful hazelnut praline dark chocolate fondant. This is an absolute treat if it's done well, and even if it's not done well, it still tastes outstanding, but what you're aiming for is a beautiful lava liquid centre. And this, if you follow these steps exactly, and cross your fingers, you need to cross your fingers. It might have no science behind it, but it works. You take this out, okay? Keep it in the container and place it onto your oven tray. The oven tray goes into the oven. If possible, place it into the middle of the oven. It's going to take 12 minutes exactly, okay? At 180 degrees, okay? 12 minutes exactly. Are we ready? In it goes, and up into 180 for 12 minutes exactly. The beef has rested for between 5 and 10 minutes. We are now ready to carve, okay? So take your steak, take your sirloin, remove the herbs. Look at it, you can smell it, smells outstanding, okay? What I like to do is I like to dip some bread into the cooking juices, but you don't have to do that. Okay, so we have our beautiful smoked salt blend and we have our sirloin here. Now, you can remove the fat if mum doesn't want it, or you can keep it in. I am going to just carve it natural and let the people who eat it decide. Just before we go, give your sauce a little stir and then place it into your sauce jug. And people can help themselves at the table. Carving your steak. Take a sharp knife. My preference is for you to use a solid blade, not a serrated blade. You can use that should you wish. You have your plate ready, okay? Okay, we are ready, okay? We have our steak, we have our sharp knife that we're ready to go on a nice chopping board. It's important also to make sure that the chopping board doesn't move. It's solid. A quick tip is to put some damp kitchen towel underneath so that it doesn't move, okay? It just gives it that little bit of friction and a little bit of safety. We have a little cloth here that any juices, once we carve, we're going to tap it on and we're going to place it on here and finish it with that amazing smoked salt blend. So I'm cutting it from the base, okay? It's a lot easier for the knife to go through. I'm simply going to cut this in half and serve it. I personally like to see the meat in all its glory. So nice confident movements with the knife and a little bit of force. Okay, cutting all the way until we get to the chopping board and letting it fall. Okay, dabbing it onto your towel. That beautiful ruby red colour. That's not to everyone's taste, I understand, but this is a fantastic piece of meat and this is, I believe, how it should be enjoyed. Take your smoked salt blend, straight over. Season that meat. You want to taste that meat. Fantastic, okay? We're going to present both sides like this. Okay? Giving it a little bit of height and showing off the steak to its fullest potential. Okay? There is your sirloin steak. So for your cheese course, we've sourced, or Stephen Sweet, our resident cheesemonger, has sourced some exquisite Mrs. Kirkham's Lancashire. He has recommended that you remove the cheese from the fridge about 45 minutes before. What that does is it brings it to room temperature. However, I always feel that when you bring cheese out 45 minutes before you've had your dinner, you've probably finished your cheese before you have your dinner. But try and keep your hands off. We are going to pair this with a spiced orchard fruit chutney, okay? What you can do is you can actually place the little pot on the table, or you can just serve it on this side, okay? Serve that with your crackers or oatcakes of your choice, and enjoy. So our fondant has been in the oven for 12 minutes exactly. So we're ready. You get your plate ready. And we have our clotted cream to the side. What we're going to do is we're going to raise the level of indulgence, because after all, this is Mother's Day. We want to raise the level of indulgence and serve a nice indulgent hazelnut praline chocolate fondant with some cooling clotted cream. Are we ready? Okay. So you will have two. I am serving for one. I'm on my own. Okay. So a quick way to know if your fondant is ready is give it a little shugo. A little shugo. Shugo is a Scottish term for shake around a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tea towel, okay? Place this is burning hot, my fingers are on fire. I'm going to place this onto the tea towel and let it loosen off the sides slightly. Okay? Now this is a real challenge in order to get this cooked perfectly and for it to look beautiful. And we owe it to our mothers, don't we? We owe it to our mothers. We're ready. Fingers crossed. Okay. It's been in the oven for 12 minutes. I'm going to place this on top of the container and turn upside down. Okay? Look. Just like sandcastles when you're younger. Tap it 3 times. And there is your chocolate fondant, okay? And a little chef's trick with a hot spoon. Take some of the clotted cream. I'm going to place that right on top. Okay, and enjoy. There is your praline chocolate fondant with clotted cream. Enjoy. There you have it, guys. A meal fit for your mum, especially after the year we've had. Happy Mother's Day.